All right, in this tutorial, we're going to paint this cute Franken Gnome blank set that we have in our shop at aspenandlark.com. So you need the Franken Gnome blank set that you can get in our shop. You also need some acrylic paints and paintbrushes and glue. And I did leave off Posca pens, but I did use those as well. I'll talk about that in the video and where to get everything in the description box below. Also, while you're here, be sure to subscribe to my channel. We are brand new. So the more subscribers we have, the better. All right, I love this project. This one actually turned out super cute. So we have our MDF pieces and I've pulled off the masking on everything except for those top letters, and I'll explain why when I get to those. And I did choose to do the 3M adhesive on the back of these. I want to show you why that upgrade is kind of nice. It's not exactly cheap, but it does save your sanity as far as glue being messy and getting everywhere. So we're going to get started getting this project together. So after I've kind of dry fit everything and make sure everything looks good, I'm going to go ahead and start painting the pieces that I want to paint black. Now, I did decide later I wanted to shade these. So you kind of want to excuse this part. Typically what you want to do when you want to shade something is you want to paint the base coat of it a lighter color than your shadow color. So if I'm going to do black, technically I should be painting a darker gray. And you're going to see where I'm going to go back over and do that here. And then I'll come in and shade that. All right, now for these smaller, more detailed pieces, I like to use Posca paint pens. They're an acrylic paint pen, and they make getting these little details super easy. Now I'm using a black one for this one. I tend to use it, you know, especially on these tiny things like this little scar piece. I think it just works better. All right, and here's where I said, nope, you got to go lighter. So actually what I'm going to do is go back over everything with more of a gray color. It's a little hard to tell here, but I'm just going to take more of a mix of white and black acrylic paint. I just use cheap paints from the, from the craft store, and I'll paint all my bases first. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do some shading now. I ended up buying some better brushes down the road, but for now, this kind of works. So technically what you want to do is wet your brush and then pick up the darker of the colors and do the edges. I had a hard time with this brush doing it, so I did a lot more blending back and forth, and it took me way longer than it should have. Technically what you'd like to do is use an angled brush and get just enough of that darker paint on one corner of that angled brush and then feather it across the edges. I'm going to do a separate tutorial video on how to do that and how to create shadowing with your paints, so watch for that. So I like to paint everything that's kind of similar at the same time, if you haven't noticed that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the beard, and we're gonna paint it a white. Now here's something that I do find sometimes with MDF, and if you're working with our kits or any other MDF projects, you might want to hit that wood with some Rust-Oleum 2 times clear, some sort of sealer. I feel like maybe then it won't soak up the paint as much that way. So that's something we're trying if you do a lot of these projects. You know, you might find that's a little bit better. With white, you definitely need to go several coats, at least 3. And again, I ended up buying some better brushes. These little tiny brushes are just not it. Not it. And if you get any little bit of paint on the edges, you can use a baby wipe or a wet paper towel to kind of wipe that paint away. I did use some fast orange wipes with mine, which I felt worked really well. So after I painted the ghost one layer, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and mix up a little bit of a very, very light gray color to do the shading on the beard. And ultimately I should have done white and then added just a tiny drop of black, but I ended up wasting quite a bit of paint here. But anyways, you get the point. The idea is if we want to do white beards, we would do a white and then do just a slight gray for the shadowing. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and paint the green portions, and you can see I started to paint green and I thought that's gonna take a lot of coats. So in order to make something more vibrant looking on something you're painting, it's better to put down a white base coat first. And that's what I did here. I went and put a white base coat down and then I painted green on top of it. Now, if you have a heat gun, that's a great way to kind of dry things and get moving faster. And you're gonna see how, you know, I worked this whole project and get the green on my Franken Gnome. Okay, so while some of those pieces are drying, we're gonna go ahead and paint the little, I don't know, the little bolts on the side of the neck. I went ahead and decided to use the gray that I had done as the mix-up for my beard shadowing as well. You could use Posca pens for this, but I just went ahead and used the gray because I had so much mixed up there. So as you see then, it did take several coats. I think I ended up doing 3 coats. I think I got a better coverage that way. And then that way it was just so much nicer when I came in to do shadow. So I actually took a little bit darker green and mixed it in with my light lime green to get that enough darkness to shade it without it looking black. All right, so off camera, I kind of finished that one. And once you're all happy with everything, it's time to glue everything down. Now with the 3M adhesive, you basically just peel off the backing. This is a protective backing. I cut this with it on it, so it makes it less messy for you with glue and a little bit easier to put in place. Now it is very, 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 very sticky. Very sticky. So make sure you really get on top of things and feel the sides and really get it lined up before you stick it, or you won't be able to move it. So some people may find that the first time they use 3M adhesive, they decide, nope, I don't like it. I can't really work with it very well. I just want to use glue. But hey, you tried, right? So for me, I find I really have to really, really, really pay attention before I even barely stick it down, or I'm not moving it at all. So I actually worked from the top down and then started laying my pieces on top of it, and you'll see how I do that. Here I am here trying to kind of scoot it a little. It's pointless. It's not moving anywhere. Yeah, it happens sometimes. All right, these little smaller pieces are a lot easier. Now we're gonna put the feet down, but here's what I wanna tell you. Before you put it down, stick it on there and stick your gnome up so that your shoe is flat with it. If not, you're not gonna be able to stand your gnome up. So make sure it is flat and that you can get it in place before you actually put it down. Now look at the back of my gnome. I didn't paint the back of my gnome. No, I didn't. You can paint it black, green, whatever color you want to paint it. But yeah, so you just want to make sure that you line it up. Now, what I did before I put everything down too is also stuck my ghost in place. I wanted to make sure that it fit where before I put my shoes down, just because I thought, you know what, let's just make sure everything is going to fit in place the way I really like it to. So I put my gnome down, or put my ghost down, and then I came in with my shoes and I made sure that they actually were lined up with the bottom of my gnome so that they gave the gnome enough support to stand. I didn't want it lower than the gnome bottom. I just wanted it right there perfectly. All right, now once everything is in place, I can go ahead and put the little heels to the shoes on. Again, being very careful, making sure everything lines up properly. And then I can place my hands down. Now, let me just tell you something. If you get paint on the edge of your gnome and you're like, oh, I don't like it, just get yourself a black paint pen, a Posca pen, and go over it. Be very careful. You can paint over it or use a little bit of paint. Sometimes I do that too. So I'm going to use my Posca pens to paint over my gnome. I keep calling this little ghost a gnome. It is not a gnome. It is a ghost. It is a gnome's ghost. I'm going to paint over those little areas using the square lines. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It's fine. It's fine. This is a craft project. It's for you to have fun with. So I'm going to do that. And then I will come in with another Posca pen and paint some fun little details. All right, and when you're all done, this is your cute little set. It would look cute on a tiered tray or sitting on your shelf. I don't know, I thought it was cute. I did do the little sign off camera. I don't know why. I really don't know why I did that, but I did. Basically, I painted it black and then I used my Posca pens to paint these so cute and the Franken. That's why the Franken looks a little bit different color than the Frankenstein. My green was a little bit lighter, but I do love Posca pens for letters. Basically, what I like to do is glue my letters down first and then paint them, because then they don't move around and I don't have to touch them. I love that. I love that. Okay, so this is the cute Franken gnome. So you can go over to aspenandlark.com and purchase this kit or any of our other kits. I'm working on so many more fun little gnome shelf setter kits. I just love these. I think they would look super cute. Decoupage with scrapbook paper too. Oh, adorable. Adorable. All right, so please head over there to our site, check out what we have to offer, and be sure to subscribe to our videos. We are brand new at what we're doing, and I am so thrilled and so excited for your support. I can't wait to see you in another tutorial.